special episode of the British Boxing Blog podcast. We've got myself, Andrew, Stephen, not here, which probably works out well for our listeners, I think. We've got Peter Shepperson here. You alright, Pete?
Yep, alright, you.
Got Imran Naeem.
Hi.
And two of their star fighters. We've got Joe Maphosa.
How we doing, guys?
And the newly crowned Northern Area champion. Got Ellis.
Alan, you alright?
Aye, all good, all good. It's down in Stockton, first time in a while. Obviously, Pete and Ellis, you've relocated from Darlington down to here. How are you finding it?
Still based in Darlington, but we come.
First question.
A mixture between here and Darlington, really.
Yeah.
For sparring and stuff.
So we come here for sparring on a weekend and stuff, but basically do a lot of the work in Darlington with Ellis.
So that flexibility works than having almost a base away from home to do a bit of work.
Yeah, well, the gym in Darlington that I use, Forge Fitness, it's a strength and conditioning gym. We've got like bags set up and everything, but there's no ring there. So if we need ring work and stuff like that, it's good to have this available. And obviously I've done bits here for quite a while now since I started coaching full time. Imran was nice enough to let me use his gym, and I still do, and we obviously help each other out and that with the boxes and corners, so it's just a bit of a team thing going, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great. He's a great guy. I've got to say that.
He's blushing now.
No, he's a great guy, and we get on well. Our coaching ethos is pretty much the same. I've learned an awful lot from him, and hopefully vice versa. So it's working well, and it's going well.
How did it come about in the first place? Because there's a lot of coaches around the northeast who we know sort of work with each other, take lads sparring and stuff. But
I think that's where it started, sparring with Adam, wasn't it? Adam Hutchins.
No, it was Chrissy Wood initially.
Of course.
Chrissy Wood sparring with Joe, and then Stewie, obviously.
And then Stewie, yeah,
boxing.
absolutely, yeah. And we've got a good working relationship, and it's nice. It's nice. I think in the northeast we're especially close in terms of coaches and boxers and helping each other out. No one else seems to, so we've got to look after our own in the northeast, and that's what we're all about.
I think we kind of have to, because I think for years we've sort of struggled to get boxers onto that next level.
Yeah, it's recognition at the end of the day, and obviously with all the boxers who were doing so well in the northeast, I think it's one of those siege mentalities, that everyone hates us, so we'll just help ourselves type of thing, which is hopefully not true, but that's the way we think, and we're very close, and we want to see all the northeast boxers do exceptionally well who could get out of the area.
And speaking of boxers doing well, Ellis, you must be flying after the knockout win of Tom Hill for the Northern Area strap.
Yeah, absolutely over the moon with it, to be fair. Just gives me kind of like a platform now to push on and excel from winning this. Just obviously this year can be a big year for me if I can just get my head down, and then obviously I've got the defence of it in the 29th of February against Chad Ellis. Hopefully we can get that sorted and look on to push on for bigger things, really. It's always nice to win a Northern Area title, because you don't, obviously, we spoke about before, you don't see them come around that often, so yeah, it's obviously nice to win it, but it gives me a bit of a platform now to kind of push on and look for bigger things after defending it.
Yeah, well, we couldn't believe that obviously the last Northern Area one, another repeat fighters with Chrissy Wood.
He made his debut on that show.
Jamie Humble draw, and then was it 2017? Is that?
That's when
as far back as that, it's unbelievable. And then, like I said to you, we've got obviously one good fight for it, which has already been end of last year, and then straight away the champion's actually defending the Northern Area belt. I couldn't tell you when the last time that actually was. Yeah. It's a shame, because why not? Why not?
If you look at someone who, like, again, we were just down there yesterday. You look at the central area. Those guys. The central area titles are active. There's always people boxing for them, defending them, and they're pushing out to English, then they're vacant, then two other boxers come in.
Same with the Southern.
It only seems to be the Northern area where people don't seem to, not necessarily want them, but they don't want to risk boxing.
Why do you think that is?
Everyone thinks you need to keep hold of that undefeated record, don't they? I think I can only assume that.
This is the thing, because we speak to a lot of boxers, a lot of coaches within the northeast. We try and branch out when we can, and you all say the same thing. Like, as boxers, you're like, well, the O doesn't make that much difference. Like, it's not something you're scared of losing. You want to go test yourself, you want to get in these fights, but then for some reason it still doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Obviously I can't knock you guys because you're proving that wrong. You're putting yourself on the line. Obviously you fought away from home as well as like before the title.
His third fight, we went on the road, and we boxed Meredith Thomas, who's now 10-0, and but the only boxer, even he's boxed from Wales, the only boxer he's had who's going to give him any trouble was Ellis. And that was what it was. It was a 4-rounder. It was very much a home decision for him, but he didn't cry about it. Just got on with it. Came back up, had a couple more, went on the road again. So I was just saying the other day, I don't know any other boxers. Actually, you struggle to name them in the country whose last 3 fights have all been against unbeaten opponents. And he's boxed George Lamport in Reading, who was 6-0, battered him and got a draw. Tom Hill, who was 8-0, now Chad, who's 9-0, and people forget that he's a very experienced fighter. He's not an experienced boxer, but he had, like, from being a kid, probably 100 Thai fights, from maybe like 20 as an adult, but he was 17, he went over to Argentina and fought in front of a very hostile crowd for a world title over there. And so I know there's people thinking that he might struggle with Tom Hill's crowd at Ray Meadows. It's not going to bother him. No, so he's happy to box away. It doesn't make a difference.
You're going in the same situation as the sort of away fighter, going to better term, like against.
Sometimes it actually helps me out a little bit. Being the away fighter actually mellows me out because I think the pressure's not on me then. Like I've got actually nothing. I feel like for me personally, I've got nothing to prove to people. All I've got to prove is to myself. So for me, doing that is just getting in the ring and enjoying myself. If you don't enjoy it, don't do it. So and I enjoy training, I enjoy fighting and stuff like that. So if I'm enjoying it, just carry it on. And I think obviously just like I like to test myself. If I don't get tested, then you're wasting your time. Like,
do you think that comes from the Thai background as well, though? Because there's not that tradition or like habit, I don't know how to call it, of matchmaking, like a home fight against an away one.
Yeah, So it's definitely not like that. And yeah, it's kind of obviously. I think it's a bit of a shame that the boxing is like that, where it's like the home fight is just trying to do. You know what I mean? I think it should be a little bit similar in that ways, but obviously it's more than just a sport. Sometimes it's a business as well, isn't it? So, but no, definitely like it's getting exciting at the moment. So it's just see how things go.
And was that business side of it part of your reason to go and fight in Wales?
Yeah, because if I'm totally honest with you, I don't sell tickets, so that's the whole shame about it. And if I could.
Prick.
And if
I'm
only joking. Well, let's not hear that.
I know, I thought you were crying.
Yeah, I just don't sell tickets for some reason. But to be fair, even Troy, for example, Troy struggles sometimes to sell tickets, and he's a high class fighter. You know what I mean? And it's just sometimes it can be the area where you're from. There's just people sometimes just don't want to give you that support, and it's a bit of a shame, really. Only now that
North East fans are tight. That's what I listen to.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, should get the money out of the pockets. No, only now, like obviously I'm on MTK and I've had loads of interest now. People want to watch me, but now it's nice. You know what I mean? Like hopefully I can carry on the support and people that put the money in the, you know what I mean, get the money out and pay for the tickets, and obviously just nice to get that support as well.
It's funny what a knockout win will do for
it is, isn't it? Yeah, exactly.
just on that knockout win, I mean, we were talking about experience and Ellis's experience. He was under fire for the first couple of rounds. The raucous crowd, everyone was shouting, and an inexperienced fighter wouldn't have reacted as calmly and as coolly as Ellis did. And that said a lot for the experience that he's had previously, as Peter's mentioned. So hats off to him for that. I don't think they expected that, to be honest.
He's got good ring craft and good ring generalship sort of thing, and anywhere you take him sparring with experienced lads, and like I know what's his name, like Michael Marsden, for instance, who obviously knows everyone, he matchmakes for everyone and all that. It's one of the things he says is he's how unfazed he is by anything. Like when he spars with like his lads and that, and you can see that you can see his experience basically. You can see that it's carried it over in the boxing.
I mean, as I said before, I only have seen the stoppage on like Facebook, social media clips. Imran, it was interesting just hearing you sort of break down the first couple of rounds. Is that something you expected? That
Well,
you would maybe not be in bother as such, but have to get yourself back into it at some point? Or
I'll be like brutally honest. As soon as it was made, I told him I would win. I didn't necessarily think it'd stop him early, but I knew we would eventually. And we even said after the first round, I wasn't going to say what, but we said after the first round, that's there. Like, that shot is there, and he couldn't miss with his right hand. Even before that, he was slightly out of range, so it was always at the end of the punch. So we actually said, I mean, I gave Tom the third round, and so you did as well.
Yes,
and
yeah.
most people I spoke to have said it was like, they were all close rounds, but maybe Ellis shaded the first two, Tom took the third. But I certainly need to get his feet in range, and you can see when shot he landed, he stepped into it a little bit more than he had been, and caught him in the middle of the punch rather than on the end of it.
and was that something you'd worked on in advance
100%.
of the fight?
100%. We'd worked on straight shots to the body to set up eventually that shot. We didn't necessarily think it'd be there till later, but from the first round it was there. Like, Tom's like good and he's long, but he was straight up. His head was there, and we saw that straight away and worked on it. So it was good to have a game plan going in, and it was even better for it to be executed how it was.
What surprised me was Tom's hands were lower than I expected from the first round. So either that was his style, or possibly he didn't respect Ellis's power. So one of those two has come to the fore.
It was a good finish, like, stole the show, didn't he? So
But even after the knockdown,
And even after
he was
knockdown,
calm
I
and he
looked back
picked
at
his
you and you
shots.
were going, calm.
Do you know what I said?
I'll be calm.
Someone who's never faced, how
Yeah, but
difficult was
I
that?
just-
knowing
I
you
just
thinking,
kind
I've
of
got him,
just-
yeah.
I said, like, I got back in the corner, because at first when he hit him, I thought, I didn't even mean it. And then he, like, come went down, I was like, alright, okay, so this is happening. And then I went back in the neutral corner, I just kind of looked at Imran and Peter, and it was just like, calm down. So I just went out, didn't go and rush in, and I hit him with a jab, and then he didn't throw it out back, but he just stepped back, and I thought he's not with it.
But at no point did I think. I thought we might again, like I say, stop him early, but not with not in a devastating fashion, more just like a wearing down and stoppage. But to the point where even when he dropped him, my initial thought straight away was 10-8 round, we're back in charge, because I thought Tom won the third and was coming into it a bit. I thought this was winning the fourth, and then when he got the knockdown, I immediately thought 10-8 round. Like, that's a good step.
There and a good coach.
And then when I saw that,
planning for the long term.
when I saw that he went out and he just threw like not a lazy jab, but just flicked his jab out, and you could see that Tom had, I mean, to be fair, he did very well to get up and even be about himself enough to carry on.
We were in a position, weren't we, where we couldn't see Tom's face.
Yeah.
So I couldn't see whether his eyes were glazed over or he was ready to go again. And it was only when Ellis put that jab out and he went against the ropes that you saw that, alright, yeah, go after him.
It's interesting because a few people I've spoken to must have been at the opposite side. They said as soon as he sort of got up, his eyes were gone and he wasn't in that position. But so you guys not to know that. Get around.
But yeah, because I've even said I've never considered him a knockout puncher, and I said there's no point sort of pushing about it. He's a hard puncher, but I wouldn't say he was I'd never had him down. But this is the first time he's done his strength and conditioning properly. He's done his weight properly, and you could see on the scales he was drinking water from the way at the car to the weigh-in. He was ripped. He was in strong shape. He was something it showed. Doing everything right. Yeah. And that's what's given him a kick.
The biggest factor is that he's ginger.
Gingers are hard as nails. Gingers are hard, right?
It's a fact, you've got to be.
You have to be, don't you? You have to be with all that bullying going on.
That's the best shape I've seen you in, like, definitely.
Yeah, I think it's not only just the fight I've learned about, it's just the training. Everything we've done beforehand is from previous. It's just made me realise now this is what we need to do day in, day out, and I give him the grass.
Do you think that comes from having an opponent where he's coming to have a go as well? Like we talked there about having unbeaten opponents like 3 in a row. You're going into that for a title against someone who a lot of people probably would have fancied to beat you. Maybe add to that motivation. Think that you're not going to get away with cutting corners for that sort of fight.
Yeah, I think definitely. Obviously, it does give you a bit of a kick up the arse to think about that. But I shouldn't just be thinking about like oh right, okay, then I've got a lad who's really good here, because you can get a lad who's like maybe he's lost a few fights, but he'll still come in and give you a good hard time, and maybe he's even beat you. Do you know what I mean? So that's why now we just need to get in that mentality of every single. Do you know what I mean? Just be professional about your whole situation.
Even journeyman, if you get matched against a journeyman who decides on that day he's going to have a go. Majority of journeymen are journeymen by choice, or you know they can't sell the tickets, maybe or they might, or it's a better living. They make more money doing that. A lot of them can box, can fight. Do you know what I mean? And they can, if they want to turn it on, they can make life hard for you. So if you don't get motivated for them, you can slip up. Do you know what I mean? Which a lot of people do.
Seen it many times. Yeah, exactly. I think we'll move on to Joe for a little bit. Joe Maphosa is here. Yeah, he's had a little bit to say. How are you doing, mate? Alright?
Yeah, I'm all good. We're in training camp at the moment for my next fight. We've got Harvey Horn for the WBO title. Your call on the 22nd of February.
I didn't know that. Come unprepared, yeah?
Yeah, it's not officially announced.
Is that like an exclusive, right? Start tweeting this out.
Yeah, it's not officially announced yet by the team, but we've known for a while and we've been training.
I was going to ask you about Harvey. Was one of the names I was going to ask you about, because I think Frank Warren released something recently, a sort of wish list for his fighters, and it was yourself, Harvey and Sonny Edwards bundled into one paragraph. Is that a fight you'd be interested in? That was what I was going to ask. Well, Harvey Horn now, and obviously you've got that again, and we're talking about having that game plan for a specific fighter.
Yeah.
Is that part of what you're doing already now, thinking, maybe looking for weaknesses in his game, what you're going to try and exploit?
Well, first of all, the Sonny Edwards fight, it's going to happen, it's inevitable. But you've got to look at Sonny. Sonny's had how many 10-rounders? He's got a lot more experience, he's boxed at a higher level. So we're happy to take the fight, but it's got to be at a point where Joe's ready. He's only had one 6-rounder, one 8-rounder. Will be his first 10-rounder. We win this, and then we'll see what happens. We'll see what we're offered in terms of money, and we see what other fights are out there, and we'll box him if that's our best option.
And again, it's understandable. Like, I'm sitting here and I am essentially just a boxing fan, but you see so many fans. He's ducking him, he's avoiding him. Like, Sonny's made it very clear. He's like, the fight's being offered to Joe. He tweeted us in reply to something we put out. The fight's being offered. They don't want it. Blah blah blah. And like, there's always a reason for it. You've got to. It's your job to look.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be honest. We've been offered the fight on 3 occasions, and I've knocked it back on 3 occasions. The only reason for that is the experience. And I've said from the off, look, Joe needs more experience. He needs rounds. His last fight was an 8-rounder, so we knew that that Harvey Horn was on the horizon, and we thought we'll get this fight as an 8-rounder. We'll be better prepared for what lies ahead. And as I've said, as far as Sonny's concerned, none of them are afraid of each other. You know, we've just got to make the correct decisions, the right decisions for our boxer, and if that means waiting a little bit longer, then that's what we'll do.
And as the boxer, Joe, you must understand what Imran's saying, but at the same time, just what you've said there, you want to be unleashed. You're not afraid of anyone. Like, how hard is it for you to let Imran make that decision and maybe turn down a fight for you?
To be honest, I've always trusted in my coaches, you know, from the amateur days until now with Imran, 3 years, you know, anything that he says, I just go by it. You know, I know he's got the experience, he's the man who's sort of paving the path for me. All I need to do is train, turn up 100%, and, you know, I mean, the fights are there for me, and we've got a big one coming up next, and win that, and, you know, doors open up for myself, definitely.
I suppose there's no looking past that next fight now, isn't it? As you say, it's a big one. It's hopefully, what we're talking about there, hopefully the North East can get behind you and support you with that.
Definitely. It's a massive opportunity for myself. Obviously, WBO, you know, you get a world ranking, and you just have to look at what's next after that, and what could be possible, you know, further down the line, and big things ahead, definitely.
And do you think that the fact that there's such a big fight there dangling in front of you is, obviously you're in the weight classes where there maybe isn't as much depth, there aren't as many boxers to and I'm not saying you would do this, but pad your record and pick up the wins just for the sake of experience, you've been moved quickly, and I suppose you wouldn't have it any other way, would you?
Yeah, that's what I've noticed, I think from my around fifth or sixth fight, we've been getting offered, this big fight, and I was thinking, maybe it is a bit early, to be honest. I always wondered why they're coming around so early, but then obviously being a flyweight, there's not many fighters around, so it's totally understandable. We'll just have to be ready for the next one.
And that's why I suppose like the likes of Sonny Edwards, he's very vocal on Twitter and social media, calling out these fights. The fans want to see these fights. You're sitting there obviously assuring us that these fights are going to happen.
They will. He's Sonny Edwards has got to keep winning. Joe's got to keep winning. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. But all it is just getting him the right fights at the right time. I know for a fact he'll be ready, and we'll give Sonny Edwards the fight of his life. I promise you that. But it's just on our terms. We're not rushing into anything. It's his career that we're looking at. It's the correct career path that we're looking at, and we want to give him the best advice possible. And I'm lucky in that he doesn't push me. He listens to what I'm saying, and he understands the reasons, and I give him the correct reasons, I think. And the rest obviously is up to Frank Warren and the team, and they'll put the fights in front of us, and we'll have a look at them. And it's certainly not about padding his record. If that was the case, we wouldn't have taken the fight with Harvey Horn. The WBO European, it's a stepping stone to where we need to be on what we're looking at. And there's a lot of domestic fights that are on that are there for us, and we'll take them one by one. But obviously we can't look beyond Harvey Horn, who's a quality fighter.
Just how highly do you rate Harvey?
He's great, isn't he? He's fantastic. He's got the credentials.
Don't listen to this bit, John.
No, he needs to listen to this. He understands what we're getting in with. Yeah, we're getting in with a quality fighter who's done it at GB level, who's done it at amateur level, and he hasn't slipped up, in the pros. Although Peter might have something to say about that.
Go on.
All right, no, obviously I had Adam Hutchinson boxing on the Josh Work and Carl Frampton undercard, and in a 6th rounder, and I think everyone but Harvey Horn thinks it was at the very least a draw, if not Adam nicking it. He obviously wasn't expecting someone as fit and
just what we're saying there to come and have a go.
Yeah, to come and have a go. They looked at Adam's record, which obviously is a losing record, but he spars obviously with Joe a lot, and we went there. He just boxed the week before in York Hall and got a win that he wasn't meant to get. I said we were going to have Christmas off, and then 2 days later Mick Marsden rang, who's managing Adam, said, "Oh, do you want to box Harvey Horn like this Saturday?" So we said, yeah, we'll go and do it. And
you gave him the fight of his life.
Didn't have. And Harvey Horn said afterwards to us, he was glad there wasn't a 7th round. Like he said that right to us, and then he was throwing his excuses out, saying, "Oh, he was a featherweight though." Adam weighed in at 8 stone 5, the same as Harvey Horn, and Adam walks around about 8 stone 7 when he's fighting. So I can guarantee you Harvey Horn got in the ring heavier than Adam did. It was just a case of Adam is fit, can take a shot and put it on him. And the last 2 rounds, he absolutely gave him hell, didn't he? You were there watching, right? You were watching. It was
those.
But it gave you a blueprint of what he doesn't like.
One of the benefits is you two linking up. You've got that experience to tap into there. So obviously, as highly as you do rate Harvey, that must give you two both a lot of hope and maybe some targets, some things to work on and exploit.
For us, I mean, I've learned. For me being a boxing coach, I used to watch the opponents with like day and night, watch what they're doing, watch their every move, and have them in my mind and work on those weaknesses that you see. But I've learned with experience that we no longer do that. I just get my fighter ready to the best of his capability, get him as strong, as sharp, as fast as possible, and then we'll figure out the puzzle in front of us on the night.
I've always been fascinated by that because obviously seeing a lot of the local fighters, you could be fighting someone on a day's notice, a week's notice. As you say, these guys turning up with losing records, you've got no idea if they're going to have a go, if they're just going to tuck up for 4 rounds. At what point as a coach do you think, right, I'm actually going to start working on a game plan for that specific opponent? Does that happen? Like, you've obviously, Ellis, you've got a very brief career in terms of the amount of boxing matches you've had. Is that something that Pete's thought, right, well actually, fighting Tom Hill, we'll look at that, or was it earlier than that?
We didn't really look at anything of Tom Hill. I'd seen him box, so obviously I've been at shows where he's at, so we didn't really watch him and study him. We just knew.
I don't think I watched one fight of his. We've leading up to it. Never watched one fight because I just.
He's been all over the YouTube.
I just watched loads of photos in the past and stuff. No, I just listen to Peter. Peter knows what he's doing. We as a fighter, we don't look to give our advice. You might have might think something, because you just listen to your trainer. Like they're the ones that tell you what to do and where to go. So you just put your faith in them, and then that's where it all lies to. Yeah. It
is very much. I say, me and him are in the corner after every round. We both look at. What do you think? It doesn't matter. You were doing that when Joe boxed. Obviously, I was there as the sort of second man in the corner, and you were doing the same, and then vice versa. I was going, "What do you think?" This is there, that's there. But that wasn't so much I say went in with the game plan. That was just off seeing Tom box where I've been at shows where he's been on.
But
didn't
then
sort of
still
study him.
Working on
worked on things that would work with him. But other fights, other than that, I might we got offered to box George Lamport. That was actually the 11 stone as well. To box George Lamport, I had a look and everything you saw on him was, and you can search him up online, you'll see this, calling him the English Lomachenko, and he was this, that and the other. And I watched him, the one fight I watched of him was his one knockout victory over a 9-0 guy. So it was like, but I know how good Ellis is and could be if he keeps applying himself like he did for the fight with Tom. And we went down there, probably not in the best of shape, because we weren't training. You weren't as dedicated as you are now. You had the kick up the backside, and went down there, probably not in the best of shape, and absolutely schooled him. Like I've never seen Lomachenko with his face marked up like George Lamport, so I put it that way. I don't think he was called English Lomachenko after that. And but we had people that we've never even met, guys who have similar sort of boxing blog down that way. Messaged him on the way home saying, we thought you won that, we thought. And Al Siesta, whose show it was, who's making the name so quite known. He was messaging me saying, "Oh, that was great. I'd like to get Ellis back on shows in the future, this, that, and the other." And so, but again, we watched one thing of him, and I was just it's for me. People need to work him out rather than, as you just said, get your own boxer ready. See what happens on the night. If barring getting dusted in a round, you can come back after a round and adapt. Yeah.
So I was speaking to Jamie Bates last night, a kickboxer who's had one pro boxing, and he was saying about kickboxers coming into boxing, sometimes just linking what you said there, it's quite hard to predict them and work them out as a striker because they're not in that typical mould of an amateur boxer, so that come forward, gloves up style. Do you think that's something that's going to work in your favour going forward?
I think when I first transitioned over, I think people were actually quite shocked at how well I transitioned. Because with the feet, your feet are quite wide, your feet are wider and square on in boxing. So when I was doing Thai boxing, I'd spar an amateur, wasn't I? And I'd get my head punched right in, wouldn't I?
When he first asked me if he could box, I said yeah. I said there's no point you going into the amateurs because of how experienced the Thai boxer was. You'd be straight in with the elite lads, and they would, from an amateur style, be fat. You'd get beat. Yeah. So we'll go pro. Have a couple of learning fights and then just see how we get on, then make decisions from there. So his first spar as a boxer was against an amateur lad. It was sort of novice to intermediate, not one of my lads, from another gym in Downton, and he got his head absolutely punched in. And it was a few weeks, so I was we worked on his feet, worked on his movement. A few weeks later, it was a totally different story. But 100% people, he's not. If you look at other kickboxers, Thai boxers, even MMA fighters who've come over to boxing, none of them sort of you wouldn't think he was from the background because of how he moves, how he holds his feet, his footwork, his head movement, his angles that he makes, and again that's something that a lot of people said. One of his first spars outside of our gym was with Terry Tyers when Terry was with Fano, and Neil said the same then. Like he said, you wouldn't think he was a kickboxer. He's got good movement and like, so I think he's sort of what's the word for? Goes against the mould of what you would expect.
Not tempted to throw a little leg kick if you're under the cuffs.
No.
Joe, you're obviously the opposite. You've come through, obviously amateur boxing all the way through. And you're going to argue that sort of background, that style has obviously helped you and allowed you to make the rapid progress that you've made.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously in the amateurs, I'd say maybe started a bit late, 13 years old. I wish I'd started maybe, a lot, younger.
30 before I put a pair of gloves on.
Because at the time I started, there was guys like Tommy Ward and the twins and stuff like that. They already had like bags of experience over me, so I was still sort of catching up at that time. So those guys were ahead. But then obviously going through the ranks, ABA, schoolboy championships and stuff like that, I managed to get onto the Team GB squad, where I got very good experience fighting different guys from all over the world. Cubans, Russians, everything like that. So that put me in good stead when I turned pro, definitely. Especially at my weight class, like what you were saying earlier, things move a lot quicker. So I think that's going to make me put me in a good position.
And we often hear that going from amateurs to pros, it's almost like a different sport. How hard did you find the transition, or how easy was it?
To be honest, I didn't find it. I think maybe because of flyweight, there's not much difference. You still have to be fast, like what Imran was saying before in the gym. I remember saying, you still need that speed, because you are flyweight. You're not like a middle or heavyweight. So it wasn't too much of a, it wasn't too hard to make that transition from amateur to professional. So it wasn't too bad actually. It wasn't too bad, and got in there my first fight against another North East fighter, Gary Reeve. He's retired now, very very good.
He's working with the board now, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's an inspector role. I see him at the shows all the time.
Yeah, that's him. Very nice guy. I always talk to him after the fights and everything like that. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. Just went from there. Really, my first fight. Enjoyed the progress moving forward.
And you just mentioned Tommy Ward there. I think he's one at the moment everyone in the North East is aware of. We know exactly where he's going. Outside of him and Lewis Ritson, who do you all think you would rate as one of the best in the North East at the moment? Current company excluded.
That's tough.
That's put you all on the spot.
You've got to say Troy at the minute.
Yeah, obviously.
Troy Williamson.
I think Williamson he's in that. He should be in that same category as probably as Lewis and Tommy as well.
He's not far off, as you obviously talking about Joe there, the WBO European. He's at that level, and again, it's a shame that you mentioned there that in terms of talent, he's up there.
Yes.
Because he doesn't sell the tickets as much, or he's not fighting regularly in the North East. There's probably a lot of fans aren't too familiar with him.
Yeah. As well.
I think he is quite left out though. I think Troy, just a little bit people forget about him, don't they? But I don't know why. Because
if you look at the thing is though, even though he's getting
on, just noticed a few things, and I just don't understand why he's left out.
His last fight should have been televised. Yeah. Why was that not televised? Yeah. And some of the fights that are televised, you think, and he's
put himself forward for every single domestic quality fighter at his weight, and none of them would take it. They've all found reasons not to fight him, and so much to the point that that he boxed a super middleweight. I swear, I was at ringside for that fight, and the kid was absolutely massive, and they were walking to the ring, and I was like, shit, this is, you know what I mean? Oh, bro, what you doing? Basically, he looked. Troy's not small, but this guy was an absolute monster, and for 2 rounds, I honestly was like, this is going to be backfired big time. But the kid, he just grinded him. He stopped him, and granted, the lad had not got massive experience in the pro game, but just his size and physique, he came in there to win, and fair play to Troy because he just broke him down. I think it was the 6th round with a body shot. He put him away. Remember that?
Yeah,
we were
yeah.
at ringside. We were looking at each other thinking, shit, what's going on here? You get me? So, yeah, we were proper relieved when that one was over. But, you know, it just shows what he's about. And I think that was on the day or just the night before. And he just says, listen, just get me anyone. I've got people who have paid. They're coming to watch me. People have booked hotels. I don't care who it is. I'll get in with anyone. And that's his mentality all over. You know,
I think there's about 4 or 5 pullouts of that, like of different opponents.
That was supposed to be
for the WBO European.
That's
wasn't
right.
it,
Yeah,
originally?
that was it.
Against, was it Pickford, that one? Or was it?
Well,
Possibly,
that was what he'd been told all along. It was, and then never got
But the
announced.
thing is that
I think it was.
So if he picked initially, then it was.
He's not
maybe
bothered.
Hungarian.
He'll box anyone, and the likes of Fowler and Fitzgerald. Yeah, he's ready.
He's got
I think
the problem.
He's sparred with him.
there,
Yeah.
The problem he's got is that if you look at the top 10, well, the box rec top 10 or whatever, 9 out of 10 of them are with matchroom.
Yeah.
And obviously
that's
he's signed with France, so
I think
making
he
the fights
said
is a
that
little bit
himself,
harder.
like,
Yeah, that's
They're
right.
not
So-
going to put him with Fowler and risk that.
Yeah.
Loss. Or
I mean, the one that's
He
getting
beats them
sort
all.
of,
He beats them all for me. I'll say to you right now. I'll say you put him in with Fitzgerald. You put him in with Fowler.
Cheeseman beat that.
Cheeseman.
another,
Yeah. He'll beat them. For
I think
me.
it was the lad who got a draw with Cheeseman, Kieran Conway.
Kieran
That would be
Conway,
a good fight to see where
Yeah, that would be
Troy's
good.
at and
Yeah.
where
And it's a
where
different
Kieran's at as
style.
well.
And again, like, well, triangle theories don't work. People and fans will look at that and think, oh, he took Cheeseman to a draw, and if Troy stops him or it looks good against him,
Yeah.
suddenly, to the casual fan,
Conway was on
term, he's more highly rated instantly.
Yeah.
Conway was on the undercard of Ritson Davis
Was,
Jr.
didn't he?
and
That's
I
the
honestly
card.
watching him for Troy takes that all day, and it's,
Yeah.
like I say, but because he's been in with Cheeseman, he's high up the rankings. And
That's right, and rightfully so.
he's,
It's just all it is with Troy is we just have to. He just has to be a
He's a
little
problem,
bit
isn't he?
patient.
he's a problem for
Yeah,
everyone. So
he's no one
who's
wants
going
to
to
fight
want to
him.
fight
No
him?
one's who's going to fight him.
He's just waiting for that breakout fight, I think.
It's just having that patience because once he gets up there, people realise how good he actually is.
I think someone else who gets overlooked because she's female, Savannah Marshall. She's right up there
Yeah,
pushing on.
obviously, yeah. Savannah's. She's
People
been
forget
so highly
she's
rated
from the
and
region
ranked.
because obviously she's training
I think we found
with
that
Fury
with
now.
Josh Kelly as well.
But yeah,
because
well, of course,
training in
Josh
London,
Kelly's-
Matchroom, he's
he's
not
got
necessarily
unless that's
seen
a-
as a North
Yeah,
East fighter.
people forget about
Savannah's
him.
probably the same as we've said there.
Yeah, I used to love watching Josh Kelly when he was in the amateurs. He had a beautiful style. I'm going to be honest that I don't see the same fighter in terms of his style. Stylistically, I wish he'd go back to how he was boxing in the amateurs. A lot more elusive, hands a little bit higher, good footwork. We're getting him in and out of range. I think that suits him rather than sitting in front. But hey, what do I know?
A lot more than me, that's for sure. Do you think the Avanesian fight would maybe bring out the best in him and we might see that sort of virtuoso performance?
I think it'll have to because Avanesian's a
No, that's what I mean,
quality lad. I've watched his last two when he's been over to Spain, won the title
fight,
against the guy who knocked out Bradley Skeet,
Him and Leharaga,
and he wasn't
I rate
expected to win. And then the second one when he got stopped him in a round.
Yeah.
And look at who's been in with. He's beat. I know Shea Mosley was a faded fighter, but Shea Mosley, Lamont Peterson, he's been in with top class guys. So I think it'll have to be a best performance from Josh to.
If he
to
can box the way I know he can, and it's got to be with that jab. He's got to control the distance with that jab. Everything's got to be off that jab. He's got to finish on a defence and not stand in front of him and parry and block and drop his hands. I think he's got it in him to beat him, but like Peter says, it's got to be obviously a career best performance. The fact that he's only had how many? 8 fights now? Is it? What's he had as a
10
pro?
fights.
10, I think, yeah. He's had
10
the-
fights
the
and
draw
they're
as well,
talking,
didn't
you know, he's been moved on very quickly, maybe too quickly.
I think there's pressure because of Lomachenko everyone's looking for their Lomachenko where you can go, this guy was the top amateur, let's push him on. And I'm not saying he's the same as Lomachenko, but that seems, ever since, it was unheard of really, guys getting pushed into and talked about world level top 10 fighters before Lomachenko came out and did it obviously in a couple of fights. So I think there's like pressure to push people on sometimes.
That's a great point, and that's why you've got to respect what Neil Fannon's doing with Tommy. Tommy has done it the proper way, the right way, where he's not been rushed at all. At every point, Neil has made sure that Tommy's reached the level that he wants him to do before he moves him on and pushes him on to the next level. You put him in at world level now, yeah. He is world level. You put him in with anyone, he's going to be comfortable because he's done it properly. He's had the time and the backing to do it properly. A lot of the fighters in the northeast or even in Britain have been pushed on way too quickly.
Cheeseman's an example of that. Cheeseman won the British, jumped up to European.
Yeah,
and
way too
Lewis's thing last week, did you listen to the...
Yeah.
I listened to it.
Oh, I'm delighted.
I listened to it.
Lewis said obviously like, going back
interesting feedback regarding that one.
But going back to Fano, what Lewis says in that, he sat him down, he was the only person who sat him down and said, look, British to European is a massive jump. Yeah. You need to be prepared for that. And obviously Lewis admitted himself he was a little bit overconfident about it, but what you've just said there, Fano's done the same with Tommy, like guided him the right way.
That's the
and
blueprint
now he's doing it with Lewis
of how to get fighters to bring them through the right way, and and credit to Phil Jeffries and David Garside and obviously Neil for not rushing him and making sure that the diamond of the northeast is hopefully soon going to be the diamond of the world. I really believe that this kid's going to win the world title without any shadow of a doubt. Even when we go spar,
very very hard spar,
and he's heavier than Joe, but at no point does he take the mick into using his height, reach, and his weight. It's always a good learning experience for us to go there and spar, so it's brilliant.
I think I've taken a lot from the sparrings, definitely. I would like to thank Tommy Ward and his coach as well for giving us that opportunity, to learn off the best, basically.
That's what brings us full circle. What we were talking about this.
That's
like,
it. That's
we
the way
started.
it is.
Everyone's working together, learning off each other.
They're all on the end of a phone call. I've got to, if I'm working on something, I need something, or I just want to chat, I'll pick up the phone to Michael, Marsden, Peter, and Neil as well. And then when I first started, it was David Binns, Ronnie Rowe, and then obviously ended up with the guy who taught me a lot about boxing, being in the opposite corner with Glenn and Josh. And that was a bit...
I was literally just going to say, when Ellis and Tom came to the middle of the ring with the referee, me and sort of Binsey went to sort of shake hands and he went, this is fucking horrible, this. Because we're like, obviously we're friends. Binsey took me through my level 1 amateur course.
Same.
You know what I mean? So
Same.
So not so much like a mentor, if you like, but
you learn.
There's been times where
absolutely,
where like you went and sparred Joe Hill once, and then Binsey ran us on the night, and we had a bit of a chat about other things boxing related, and you said when we went to the wedding, he was going, I hate this, mate, it's horrible, this, we're all like, fighting your mates effectively, or in the opposite corner to your pals.
As they say, boxing's a business.
Yeah.
And something that became very apparent to me listening to the podcast last week with Lewis was that he gets it. He gets it. Yeah, belts, glory, being the best that you can be. That's all there. But at the end of the day, it's to secure your future. And Lewis really is starting to get that.
I think a few people will be a bit surprised by that. Maybe have their eyes.
You know what? If you'd have done that interview with Lewis 2 years ago, you'd have had a different Lewis. It would have all been about I want to see how good I am. I want to be the best I can be. That's there, but there's definitely another strand that is, if the money's right, I'll take the fight, and that's, you know, ultimately that's what it's got to be about.
And I think that can annoy fans to a certain extent.
Yeah.
When we talked about the avoidance of fights and what have you. But I think more and more now, fans are coming round to that way of thinking and almost saying, well, actually, these are the lads that are putting themselves in the ring. Who am I to demand he fights so-and-so? Obviously, as a fan, you want to see the best fight the best, and it doesn't always happen.
Yeah.
But like I said earlier and hinted at, there's reasons for that maybe we don't always hear about.
Absolutely.
Don't always see.
Absolutely. And you know what? It's when you listen to that podcast and you listen to Lewis's journey, you can understand, because you saw how hard it was for him in Scotland. I went with Josh to spar with him in Scotland, and he was getting 2 buses. He was getting 2 buses to get to the gym and spar with Josh. And then straight after, he was going to work. He was going to Debenhams to work as in security. Yeah, and I'm thinking,
Couldn't imagine him behind the till like.
no. Maybe now you could. You can count a book or 2 now, but maybe back in the day. But you know, it just shows you that these guys, Josh was working, Joe was working, Joe is working. Yeah, they've got mortgages to pay, they've got families to feed.
Ellis has Stone Island jackets to buy.
So he sold the Merc for them.
So you know, it's the reality is that, you know, that it's the hardest. That's why it's the hardest sport in the world. You know, it's tough because there's so many other things. Not everyone can be that full-time athlete that people dream of. You know.
And it's that full-time athlete with all the sponsorships and stuff that most, or not most, but a lot of fans see. They don't see everything else away from it. They watch a fight on Saturday night and they think, oh well, he's been paid X amount for that. And they don't see like the years and years and years.
They also don't see the fact that it might be released or announced what someone's made for a fight, but then they've got to pay the trainer, pay the manager, pay tax, expenses from training and everything else. You don't come away with what you made.
That figure, it's not in here, to be fair. It's tough. It's really
even
tough.
if you make a million as a number for people, what people think all the big guys get, 10%. If your manager only takes 10%, you might take 20% or 25%. Some guys take, or then your trainer's got 10%. So that's very quickly not far off a half or a third of your money gone in it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Before you get it, and then that's got to last you. You went to box for another 6 months. Yeah. So it's got to last you as well, and it's not as glitz and glamour as people think. Definitely 100%. It's not.
Ask Joe. We had 2 pullouts last year. We had 2 fights.
Yeah.
Beginning of the year, end of the year. We meant to have 4 fights. Ask him how hard it was.
Well, this is it. Like I was going to hit both of you have experienced opponents pulling out. Ellis later than others with that one, but we'll not go into that in too much detail. But like, yeah, you've obviously then those costs that you've incurred, training camp, whatever, travelling for sparring, all the rest of it, medicals, etc., they don't get waived because the fight's not on and you're not getting paid. I mean, Joe, I think last time I saw you was at the Lancastrian Street where you literally turned up on the day, thinking you had an opponent.
I rang you and said, oh, I'm setting off about 4 o'clock, I'll be there about 5 because I was going to help out. And I got off the phone and 20 minutes later Mick Marsden rang me. Does Adam want to box Joe tonight? I said, I'm in Joe's corner, I'm on my way, I'm setting off. He's got an opponent. No, he hasn't. And that was...
Imran, that was the angriest I've ever seen you. Like,
well, I rang you, didn't I, straight away? And I said,
shook my hand and said, I know that, but I was like, yeah, I'm not bothering him anymore.
I said,
Joe,
I said, are you sat with Joe? He went, yeah. I went, just move away from him a minute.
You know what, I apologise to everyone who saw that.
No, we still need to, that's the thing.
You know what, that was...
I think everyone understood.
I was devastated. I was absolutely devastated.
Rightly so.
The kids, you've seen them. You've seen these kids, what they go through and how hard they work, and to turn up on the night and not have anything is a proper kick in the teeth. You know, and then you've got...
what made that worse is that it was known the day before.
Yeah.
So it could have...
Yeah,
That's still, it's not doesn't necessarily make it better. You've still trained it, but it makes it
There's
better
no
when
excuse
your
for
fans
that,
turn
really,
up
is
at the
there?
venue and you're waiting to weigh in
Yeah,
and then finding out.
I don't know if it was miscommunication from the managers or the matchmakers or like whoever in the business, but it was definitely you know.
I know what it was, but I just kept it hidden from him. He doesn't need to know. I don't want him to. Obviously, I try my best to obviously shield him from anything like this. I just want him to concentrate on his boxing. That's it. You know, all the crap and all the rubbish that comes with it. You know, that's what we're here for. We'll deal with as much as we can. We'll deal with that, and then his is on a need to know basis. If he needs to know, I'll tell him. And if it's something that he doesn't need to know, I'm not going to bother him with it if I can manage to help him out with it. So that's what you call teamwork, and that's the way it should be, I think.
And how did Ellis, how did you and Pete deal with your late pull-out situation?
Took him on the pads for 4 rounds.
Yeah, I just done 4 rounds of the pads.
Generally did as well.
I
Yeah.
bet that was
He
worth
got
it.
ready, and he went, I
I bet
said,
there was a lot of anger in those shots.
I said he's not in the building, and he just sat and went, I've got my gloves on, I may as well do some pads or something. So we just did a few rounds on the pads, and then it was what it was. What could you do if you didn't laugh about it?
At the
You'd
venue.
go mental, yeah.
On the night I was there,
And-
yeah, it was crazy.
Just a bit mental,
So
really.
we had
to be
people,
fair.
people running the change room. Oh, that's it. It's not for this. It's not for the belt. It's not for this. Did you know? And he went, I couldn't give a fuck, mate. I'm having a fight. Get out. You know, that was his.
Saying it, nothing
That was his
nothing
attitude.
phases him, nothing
Who
bothers
cares
him.
if there's not a belt that effectively, that's not. It doesn't mean anything. It's not
No,
recognised
it's
as a thing.
just-
It's not a rank. It's just a trophy at the end of the day.
Glad you said
And
that.
they're now not
Yeah,
sort
it's
of.
not
Well,
for
it's
It's not. No, it's not.
The board have
It's
taken
just-
it off the table, so
So yeah, they're no
it's
longer doing
nothing.
it
It
because
doesn't
of
mean
that.
anything. It doesn't mean anything at all. It is exactly that.
It's a nice little
It was
a
something-
trinket
trophy
for
Well,
you.
it was
going
something,
up in
it's
front
something
of
to
your
promote a
fans.
fight, wasn't it? It was something to promote a fight. You can say there's a title on the line,
Yeah.
but it's not something that is going to progress your career massively, other than it gets you an 8-rounder and you can push on. And as I say, he was there to have a fight, not to have the belt. As it happens, he's got the belt at home because he turned up eventually.
Yeah,
I was
But,
going to ask, is the rematch, but I don't think it's a rematch, is it? Is that match something you would entertain in the future?
I wouldn't,
Bazzi?
I wouldn't
Nah.
offer Bazzi a rematch if you paid me £10,000. Oh shit, I'll probably take £10,000. Yeah. Nah,
It's open in negotiation.
no, to do that to anyone is just, I think, it's ridiculous. Like, it's a professional sport. You just like turning up on the night and then it's just mental, really. And he even after
Didn't even
killing
came in 4
he
pounds.
came in overweight, then tried to kill himself to make the weight. Didn't make the weight. I still took the fight anyways, but and then that happened. So I think personally, he just shot himself in the foot, really. But because if he didn't go on the way he did, maybe he could have defended it against him. Do you know, defended the Northern area against him? You know what I mean?
I wouldn't even.
But we wouldn't.
I would
even-
never take the fight
no.
against him for the simple fact that unless they've made an upfront guaranteed payment of if he doesn't make weight, you still get your wages. I wouldn't, because he never made weight ever.
Mm.
When he's meant to have made a weight, he's never done it. And obviously, just the way it went on, it was a bit ridiculous. But I'm sure they had their reasons. They obviously felt they were in the right to do what they did. So who are we as criticise them for their thing without trying to be like diplomatic about it? But it is what it is.
I was shocked.
It's
to
gone.
see
It's
it.
gone.
If
It's
they
gone.
listen to this, we'll come up and
It's
give
gone
them the
and
right to reply. More than happy to do that.
Well, it's gone and it's done. I've seen Mark Clausel. I've been there with to the gym since then. I've got no sort of issues. Seen it is what it is. I've seen Bazzi as well when I took a lad to spar there.
It's almost like life's too
And,
short, isn't it? You
well,
don't-
it's not-
that-
End of the
animosity
day,
out the way,
it's done no harm to
Ellis
him
has
because
moved
he's
on,
the one who's
come out.
come out of it one looking better at the time, and now he's obviously progressing. He's up the rankings now. He's pushing on. He's not. Obviously, we're not going to discuss anything other than Chad Ellis because.
I was going to say that obviously the cliche is you're not looking past your next fight.
Definitely not. You can't.
I am.
That's
he's
what I
not.
was going to say from a training
and Steve
point of view.
Rafer,
is
we've got-
you're plotting out that
We've got his
that
next
journey.
fight planned, but that's not in a. I'm looking past Chad Ellis either. That's just you've got to have a bit of a plan. We've
That's
got to
some
plan
sort
what
of
we want to
security
achieve by
there.
the end of the year, and what fights we want to have, what shows we want him to try and get him on to get him more exposure, to help him sell tickets in the future, to try and build him without sounding like a sort of build a brand, sort of, you know, like without trying to make it sound like a business type thing, but that's what it is about. Look at guys like Josh Warrington, who he's done it as well. He's built himself around the Leeds Warrior, the logo, goes out, gives all his tickets out, sells out Ellen Road or wherever in Leeds, the Leeds Arena. And you've got to look at guys as well, like Joe Laws, and learn from him, because regardless of what anyone thinks of Joe Laws as a boxer, or regardless of what he goes on to achieve, look at what he's doing. And how many tickets he sells now. He promotes himself and pushes himself.
Moving the needle.
Well, that's it. And whether you look at that and think, oh my God, shut up, will you? Or like, obviously you see people commenting.
Is that what you
on
think?
stuff.
Peter?
What? I do a new pipe up. No, what I'm saying is, whether you think that or you think he's hilarious.
I don't think the approach is for everyone, but I think it works for him.
Yeah, well, that's it.
Yeah.
And he's look at what he's doing. He's boxed live on Sky Sports twice. He's boxed, and he's selling out small hall shows. Everyone wants him on the show. Everyone wants him on, and so you've got to learn from what he's doing. Not necessarily to the extent that he does it, but take things from him.
Definitely.
Like the way he's on social media, just push. Not like I said, you don't have to do everything he does on social media, but be more active on social media. Put stuff on and try and promote yourself a bit. So you can't knock him really.
Ellis, how do you feel when he talks about your surname?
He lengthens it, doesn't he?
He lengthens
it.
Who?
Ellis Corey. He only talks about his surname.
Corey.
Is that the accent?
It's I don't know. Yeah, I think so. It's a bit weird, isn't it? Really, Corey sounds like
You're a bit like that, really.
Yeah.
How do you pronounce it?
Corey.
Corey.
Yeah.
Oh,
The Darwin's one. I think I said Corey at the start now. Oh God.
Everyone calls him Corey. Everyone thinks it's called Corey Ellis.
That's what
Everyone doesn't know where to go.
Honestly, she was like, "Where are you going?" Like today, I was like, "I've told you about 4 times. I'm off the gym." So, "Oh yeah, Corey Ellis." I was like, all the way around. And I was like, "It's fighting Chad Ellis. That'll confuse you."
I see something related, Corey versus Ellis, and I was thinking, that's it.
People have been a bit confused.
No argument about whose name's first. So we're coming up to an hour there, gents. I think we've covered a lot of stuff. I'll give the final word to the boxers. Is there any last message for your opponents or your fans or anyone?
Not to my opponents. I just want to say thank you to the people of obviously Middlesbrough Teesside who've been supporting me throughout my journey. Thank you to my coach Imran Naeem, who's been there by my side. I think we're coming up 3 years together now, 9-0 unbeaten. To the main sponsors as well, CPD Bodies, Imperial Recruitment, iBox Customised, the best gloves in the business.
He hasn't got these written down, by the way, he's going from memory.
And also I'd like to thank Andrew Burton as well, who's doing my strength and conditioning now at ABC Gym, who's doing a great job, and I'm really looking forward to the future.
Top lad, Ellis.
I'd just like to say thank you to my main sponsors who's obviously helped me financially, because boxing's not the easiest way to start out. You still got to cover your bills. And I just like to say thank you to Mowden Pub, who helped financially, obviously keep me in the boxing game, and just a new sponsor that's came on board is Unicorn Finance, and also I'd like to thank my other sponsor, Coach McLean. He's helped me, look at the shirt I was in before. What he's helped me with is the nutrition, the strength conditioning, everything what we've worked on was brilliant, and then obviously Peter for everything he's done for me.
John Flynn physio.
Oh, and John Flynn. So yeah, keeping me right throughout the whole fight camp. Any little niggles that I had, I'd just go and see him and I'll sort everything out for us. Yeah, so absolutely over the moon with that, and hopefully we can try and build a bigger team and hopefully get on board.
Spot on.
Thank you to British Boxing Club for
Thank
coming
you for your
over.
time, gents.
Really appreciate you coming over.
Pleasure, as ever.